in the 33rd tshuva. So they asked Rav Moshe Shaila like this. They asked him, the Maisa, there's a Rambam in the Pirush of Mishnayos, and when the Rambam discusses the Tanaim, you guys can hear, right? It discusses the Tanaim of Oidai Biyadai and Daita Lachzor. So we know that in order to be able to return something to a fire, even though it's a covered fire, so we know that in order to return it to a fire, you have to have other Tanaim. You have to have Oidai Biyadai and Daita Lachzor. So they asked the guy in Rav Moshe, it's not always so easy to hold a cholent pot in one hand and scoop it out with the other hand. And like we said yesterday, and what if your wife is Nida? And she wants cholent in the middle of the night. She wants cholent, and how's she gonna do it? So she needs your help. What are you supposed to do? No, but it's not shaykh that you should hold it and she should scoop out. That's a problem. Sorry. So Rabbi Samuel says that we spoke about there's a truth from a different Tigris Moshe. That Moshe said if you have something very heavy, like a double carriage, or some people have like a triple carriage, and to carry it up the stairs. So maybe it could be make on archakas, but that's because for Moshe has a whole entire tshuva about saying it's Tali and Zav and Hesed and everything, and something so heavy maybe is not considered a problem in archakas. I don't know how big your cholent pot is, Rabbi Samuel's, but I don't think that's going to be a heter over here. I don't think so. So there's one eitzah, is that you could take the item and let's say this is the countertop and the countertop goes there and you can hold it like this. You can hold it like this in the air. And then it's certainly being mukba mikaycha, and that's called oide biyadai. Right? That's for sure called oide biyadai. But then you're running the risk of the cholent pot falling. Who wants such a thing? You're not scared of such a thing? What? Oh, so now the shaila is, what if I can I just hold it like this, tipped up in the air, tilted up in the air? And that's one question. Do I have to do that? I could have heard a svara to say, no, is that really called oida b'yadai? It's oida b'yadai. Because am I really holding it? Is that really holding it? Because, who needs you? It's leaning against, klape hilcha shmon esrei, when you're leaning on a stender, right? If we take away the stender from you, you wouldn't fall. So is that called oida b'yadai? What? Maybe. But maybe, there's no question that b'diavad this is all okay. I want to have a helik cholent with all the chumras. Is there even a chumra we're trying to figure out, right? Right, and the truth is that you were makavin to the Sefer Shvus Yitzchak brings down from Rav Eliashiv that. So no, if if it's hanging in the air, I think maybe Rosh Hashanah that if it's hanging in the air, so that's what you do. But the shaila is do I have to go that far? If I say, I see you guys don't have cholent on Friday night, or you were make on the shaila, it's a little bit annoying to do that. It's a little bit annoying to do that. I mean, I'll be moister nefesh for cholent, but Lemaisa, it's a bit annoying to do that when the cholent pad is big and you have to, it's hot also. So you have to wear one of those fancy gloves, and you have to be scooping out in the other end. That's so simple. So my question is there another hat there? Can I just put my hand there onto the counter, onto the pot? Can I put my hand over there and just touch it like a dinagia, just touch it with a pinky or something? Is that enough? So this is the question that they asked the great Goyin Rav Moshe Feinstein. So you're talking over there, not about the countertop. That we'll get to in a moment. They asked Rav Moshe straight about the case in the karka. We know that if you put the pot on the karka, it's pretty bad. Putting on the karka shows that that's the makom where, like we said, in those days, that was the fridge. That was the end of the cooking process. So he put the karka, he put the pot on the karka, and now he put his hand there. The way he brings, he's holding the handle. The same idea, Mr. He's holding the handle. So let's say if you're holding the handle, it has that little rim that sticks out, from the crackpot. Is it enough to just hold the handle? And I did this. Can I return it? Says the Shem Neider, what was his kasha? He said because the Maisa, there's a parish Mishnayos of the Rambam that he says mutter lachzir b'tnai shleitunach hakadera al davar el sheteh ba'avir v'chulei. So he says Maisa, it sounds like in the Halakha Rambam that it has to be in the air. In order that you should have the heter to return it, it's not enough that it's a covered fire. It's not enough to have das. It has to be biyadai. What does biyadai mean? In the air. Rambam's lashon is ba'avir. So is that lashon b'dafka or not? That was the question they asked to Moshe. So Moshe answers like this. He says, yesh lahakal. I know what's the case. If you have cholent pot on the floor, we'll get to modern day example now. But if you have a cholent pot on the floor and your hand is on the handle, it's not holding it up, not like that. It's a yesh lahakal. Why? Because the Shulchan Aruch Meshna and Gimel. Listen, and the Gemara. Listen to Moshe. Listen to the ava of every single drop of ink in Shas and Paiskin. How much he was medayik every single word. Mida apik. The Gemara and the Shulchan Aruch use the lashon hinicha, and they don't use the lashon hamida. Does anybody know what the difference is between hanicha and hamida? So when you learn Shas 1,000 times, you know the answer to this question. Ramesha learned Shas over 1,000 times. So he knew the answer. He says, hinicha agabe karka, which is the lashon. That means hinicha agabe karka mashma shenicha mamish levad. Hiniach means like munach achiyava eliyah. That's what it means, like munach. It's there, and I have no shayches. Like a hanacha, like a kir of hanacha. Hiniach means that it was there and I have no shayches. That's the case of Isser, when I was meniach agabe karka. But if I was maimided on the karka, mid on the karka, if that would have been the lashon, so then hamid al karka would mean that he still has a shayches, like he's still holding it. So by the fact that the Shulchan Aruch says the word in the Gemara, says the word hiniach agabe karka, so that shows us that the Shulchan Aruch is saying the only time it's a problem is when I was meniachid on the karka, when I left it on the karka and I said kol tov. But Mashen Kain, if I was just hamid ala karka, I know I put it on the karka and I have my hand on the handle still, I still have a shayches, says the guy going with Moshe, that then it's mutter. Then it's mutter. If you would just do that, unbelievable. No, I wish I could be medayik like that. No? Unbelievable. It's like mamish. It's like Rishayim. Huh? It's what? It's in the Torah. And what I found nifladik is I looked around in all the poskim just to see, come on. When you hear such a thing, you think, let's look at love dafka. Come on, Hamida, Nicha. I looked around, unbelievable. All the poskim, like you're saying, from the Torah to the Aruch HaShulchan to the Chayadim to the kids, everybody, every single time says the lashon hinicha. But Dafka never says the lashon hamida. There's something epis to it, there's something to it. And then Ramesh goes on and says either Rambam and Pesh Mishnah. It says Pesh Mishnah is. What are you talking about? But in the Yad Chazaka it doesn't geschrieben. In Yad Chazaka and Perak Gimel Halacha Yud it doesn't say Seba Avir. Mashma even the Rambam is Mekel. It's unbelievable. Akapanim does it the sheet of Rav Moshe. So according to Rav Moshe, there's nothing to discuss. We don't know yet what a countertop is, but it's not worse than the karka. There's nothing worse than karka. It's the worst thing in the world is karka. So Ava Pikein, Rav Moshe Feinstein. So if you want to ask Rav Moshe Feinstein, are you allowed to take cholent and just put it on the countertop and put your hand on the side of it over there? So according to Rav Moshe, it's mutter. So therefore it's mutter. And that's mutter. The only question is like, is there a makom for like a chum or something? It's different. There's mutter because that's what Moshe told us. But there like some makom even to be a mahada. Like if I would tell this to my wife, I'd say, okay, this is the halacha. You don't have to tell them the chumras, right? But the halacha is you put it on the countertop and you just put your hand there because it starts difficult and whatever. The truth is, if there are some chumras that last the first week after you learn the sugya, and then in the second week they don't last, and then by the third week they become like mamish averis. So it's not good to take a chumra that anyway is not going to wind up happening b'chlal anyways. So Ramesh is mekel. Okay, I told you the Shvus Yankov says not like this. Shvus Yitzchak brings some Rav Yashiv not like this. So that's that. Now, the Ma'aseh, it's interesting, is that the Shmir Shabbos in Aleph, I wrote here Yud Ches, but I don't take responsibility because I was looking in the old prints. It could be that I should probably just get rid of the old print and only use the new prints. But I'll upon him in the Aleph Yud Ches over there, the Shmir Shabbos brings down from the domestic Eliezer, the Marm Shik. He's a mamish of the greatest of the Chayim from 100 years ago. Right? And they argue on Ramosha. They argue on Moshe. I don't know what to do with the Yukim like that. In Icha and Amida, you have to, so they also learned Shas many hundreds of times. So I don't know. And they argue, but they say that let's say you were to put the cholent pot on Mita or Safsel. We explained yesterday, Mita Safsel is some type of a, like a mid-mukim. It's nishkarka, it's not in the hands. It's like in the middle somewhere. It's a mid-zone. Why? Because if it's in a safsel or something, so then you're not going to leave it on the chair because you need to use the chair. So Mamela, you're not going to leave it on the chair. Mashen Kain karka remains. Oida is for sure something that shows it could go back. And safsel's like in the middle. Safsel amol main tazeh, zikr not remaining on the safsel. That's the lumdus of safsel, which we'll see in a moment. What exactly is the lumdus of safsel? So they say that no. On a safsel, whatever a safsel is, we'll modernize it in a moment. But what a safsel says the Marmshik and the domestic Eliezer, there it works to just hold it by your hand. I guess the lumdus being that if you're on the karka, so karka is ready, that's it, it's ice. And once you put it on the karka, that's it. The karka is a maisa of removal the gamri from the fire. You're cooling it down. So that's itself a mechsi in essence. It's inherently a mechsi because it's something that looks like, it's a mechsi of sorts. Right? But mashen kain, when you have something like the mid zone, so if you could show me that you put your hand there, like Kivyachol creates a continuity, it makes a continuation. So therefore, just putting a hand there. So again, that's if we can figure out what a countertop is. So according to Moshe, even if a countertop would be karka, I'd be able to be meiko. Okay, but now if somebody's going to come along and tell me a countertop is karka behemis, now I have at least Moshe's meiko, but I just have a problem according to the Mamshik and the Mesek Eliezer. No, so what's the Maisa countertop? What's the Maisa countertop? What would you guys think? What's a countertop? What would you think? What's a countertop? What? Depends how big. Why you say that's interesting? Why? You mean you might just leave it there? Right? What does anybody else think? I mean, look, Rabbi said we don't put things on karka today, right? Agav, if somebody would put things on the karka today, who knows what that is? Man, we don't even do that, right? The fridge by us, I don't know, the karka itself is for sure not going to remain on the karka. Right? It's for sure not like, they used to leave their pots on the karka. They'll just leave it there overnight, whatever, it will cool down. They'll just leave it on the karka. Like after a barbecue, just like leave it there, just put it down on the floor. That's how they would do it by what's it called? Rabbi Slansky says to me, yeshiva kitchens, but that's because it has maybe major size pots. Okay. But Al and they even talk. I saw the Paiskin, they discuss what's karka today. It's one of those things that's not going to go by Rav Yashiv. You know that. The Gemara said karka's karka. It's not going to go. But the concept is what's the din of a countertop? What would you think? Who would think a countertop? No TV watchers. What would you guys think? Who knows what's a countertop? Anybody? Pashas what? Some people. So Nissi Samuels was willing to take the hit for all of us. Thus he says, go and look at my countertop. My countertop is filled with pots. That's how it goes overnight and whatever. So it could be it remains there. Right? And on the other hand, Rabbi Zinger, right? He doesn't leave the house until the countertop is clear. It's not never remains there. That's not karka that it's remaining over there. So the Maisa. So I didn't know the answer to this question because so they bring Rav Yashiv and the Shvus Yitzchak over there brings Rav Yashiv and Shalom Zam. I mean these are shmuas that you could sort of believe because it's not a clear zach anyways, So Shalom Zalman and Rav Yashiv, he brings down over there that they held that a countertop was not karka, but that it was like a safsel. It was like a meat and a safsel, like it's something in between. I sort of hear that also. I think most of us would have thought the same way because it's taken clear, right? I think most of us would have thought that it's like a meat of a safsel. Lefi this, it's gavaldik, right? Lefi this, maman of shach, if you put a hand on the where are we taking the chalent off, Rabbi? So we're taking the chalent off and putting it on the countertop, right? So Mamanashach, if you have a hand on it, you're okay. According to Rabbi Moshe, it's karka, and karka. I'm sorry, even if it would be karka, it doesn't make a difference because even if a countertop will be karka, but you can have a hand on the karka, on the pot which is on the karka, and if a countertop is and if you hold not like Rav Moshe, and you hold that a hand is not enough, so then on the karka, but maybe a countertop doesn't have a din of karka, and what would it be? Meat of a safsel. And once it's meat of a safsel, so now you have that's the Mesek Eliezer and the Maram Shik that they told us that taka meat of a safsel, even that much a handle works. So that l'chayra is that. So but like I keep saying, like a machmir tavalah bracha, no? You want a bracha and you want your chalent to be. He says, there any makom even to be machmir at all? So I saw that there's a makom machmir in the Orchos Shabbos, in the 516th page, he brings down from Rav Vosner that they asked Rav Vosner, what's the din of countertop? And Rav Vosner said, countertop does his karka. And he does his karka. So the Nebezai, now according to the Mesek Eliezer and the Maram Shik, a countertop, it won't help to just put my hand there because that does his karka. And not only that, so he brings down over there from Rav Shmuel Orbach, that's in the Sefer. Now in the back, he has chuvas from Rav Vosner. So that, for sure he said, because it's mamish a chuva from Rav Vosner. But in the front of the Sefer, he brings down that he asked this question to his Rabbi, to Shmuel Orbach. And Shmuel Orbach answered him that no, Vad does his karka. A countertop is karka. He said to him, why is it karka? He said that, what? And in the olden days, what do you think? You think when they put things on the karka, that means it was always over? Sometimes they put things on the karka because they didn't have room either. They would also put things on the karka because they didn't have room either. So, that's how it goes. So what does he mean? So therefore what? So what's it there for? So therefore what? Therefore? You finish it. So what's the board of character to begin with? Rabbi Samuels is asking. Usually when you're done, you put it there. But sometimes a mole, you'll put it there. Okay, so then a countertop is not diamond to that. Because the countertop is mamish 50-50. It's not usually when you're done, you put things on a countertop. Right? It's not a usual, or am I wrong? I don't know. Am I wrong? Is it usually when you're done, you put things on a countertop or no? If I'm in the middle of cooking and I have 3 pots, it's just, I understand that. I agree with the Matthias. The karka was a place that you would put something on and 90% will say it's over. Sometimes you don't have room, so you have no choice. You put it on the karka. That was their, that was where they put things. By us, is that how it is by countertop? I don't know if it's 90%. I don't know. It's an interesting way of looking at it. Rabbi Cooper says, he says, look, they had karka, and if they had an open chair, they would put it on an open chair. If they, they had somewhere else. By us, what do we have? We have counter. We also have tables. So I don't know. So what? I'm not going to Makoimi. I don't know. I have a raya in a moment from Moshe's tshuva about this, that he held the countertop is karka. I'll show you in a minute. It's a little bit a part of something he's saying, so I have to wait to get there. So therefore, but halacha l'maisa. So now, is there a makom to be machmir and then to lift up in the air the chalent? So now there becomes a makom to be machmir, to lift up the chalent in the air. It's so difficult, and I just don't believe this chomer is going to last. You know what I mean? It's a chomer that I think I'll do on the first Friday night. I just don't think it's going to last. I just don't think so. What? We'll see. Slowly, are we going to get there? What? We'll see. I'm not going to give everything away slowly. Who says I eat chalent on Friday night? Who says, what? What do I do? I get all the children to gather around. Each one holds it in the air. We scoop out with shovels. What are you talking? Right? With all the chumras, and we say, Zeh, kafarasi, Zeh, what? Sorry? Yeah, so what's a table? It's a good child. What do you say, Rabbi Levine? What do you say? You say like what, right? Like in other words, like a safsel, meet the safsel. I'm not sure. He says that a table. They used to have tables also. How come nobody talks about tables over here? They talk about mitas, they talk about safsels. What was the table? Was the table a karka? What? So, and therefore what? Therefore it's going back to the fire, or therefore it's going into the fridge? What? Come again? It's interesting. They didn't have tables back then. Okay, but the Mishnah Berurah did. Yeah. What? Yeah. These things are difficult, Yeah. So Rabbi Rosenberg says they only had personal tables. It's interesting. But what about the Mishnah Berurah? In Radin, they didn't have personal tables. Rabbi Rosenberg, fishy. I was there. That's not true. Al Kapanim. Sorry. I was just got for Micah. Yeah, they didn't have a table for Mike's Dinette. So what's the point? So they wouldn't put it there, but they had little trivets. They had cardboard and whatever, right? They had, they had this. Now, by side, the Maisa, I don't know. To take on this chumrah, I don't know. The Maisa, there's a ran. And this ran is one of the most important things that you need to know in the sugya over here. This ran is so important. The Ramah brings down a ran. He brings it in 2 places, and he brings down like this. The ran says, it's at the end of the sif, I think he brings it, right? Where is she? The ran says, unbelievable. It's based on the Yerushalmi, the ran. Where is it? Oh, thank you. Yeshayimrim, Kol Zeh, the whole entire sif, the entire Tnaim of Chazara. The Kol Zeh Eino Asa Rakich and not Lim and Akiru Mi B'Yayim. The only time that we need the Tnai of Chazara, what are the Tnaim of Chazara? Taitai, Oidebe Yadai. The only time we need these Tnaim is when you had something that we were before Shkia. Let's say I took something off the fire, off the Kira, and I'm holding it there until after Shkia. So then you must be holding it in order to put it back on the fire after Shkia. It says whatever, it doesn't matter right now. But that's all if it's before. But let's say your pots, like all of us, started out on a fire as of when Shabbos came in. Don't worry, I'll give you examples of this in a moment, which are very negate. But let's say your pots are on the fire as of when Shabbos came in, like all of us. Our pots are on the fire. So now everything you're doing always looks like Chazara. Everything you're doing is always going back to the matziv of what was at Shkia, okay? So therefore, you don't need the Tnai Chazara. We'll see which ones. But you don't need Daita Lachsor, and you don't need Oidei Biyadai. When do you need Daita? This is the biggest kula in the whole simon, Rabbi. So you better know this. The Daita Lachsor and Oidei Biyadai. When do you need Daita Lachsor and Oidei Biyadai? The only time you need those Tnaim is when you're before Shabbos. I had something in the oven. I took it out of the oven. It was boiling hot. And I put it on the countertop. Okay. Now you have big problems. Now you need Daitei Lachzor. Now you need Oidei Biyadai. And now we're going to have to figure out what's called Oidei Biyadai because Shabbos didn't start yet. And now 20 minutes into Shabbos, you want to go and take it and put it onto a covered fire. Whoa. Is it Oidei Biyadai? What's the Daitei Lachzor? That's the only time we have these Tnayim. But Masha'en Kain, once Shabbos started and it was on a fire, so that even if you put it on the karka, I say, heed my words. This is like every single case that we have. It's the whole simon's over. If every one of us has food on the fire, right? Food on the fire as when Shabbos came in, the food's on the fire. So the only time you need all these tnayim is when the food was not on the fire. But when the food was on the fire, as when Shabbos came in, so then everything you're doing, we can always consider a hemshich of the previous matzav. Why is it like that? We know that in halacha, a lot of things get hooked, like migudis katsai by muksa, and bittul kli mechana. A lot of rules are officially, made official at Shkia. What say Shkia? What am I getting involved in that child right now? Back upon him. So it's gewaldig. Rabbi say, now, what's the halacha? Do we hold it this Ran? So Rama says, he says, the Yeshayim calls Zayin also Kishvagim Yakim by Yom Leichzira Chachashecha. Valim Lakhu Misham Mishachashecha. Afilu Iniach Gabe Karka Mutter. Ran. Then he says, V'kein Hagin. Says the Heilige Rama, V'kein Hagin. And then what? V'kein. No, right. It doesn't say no agu. It's not the angry one. It's v'kein nayagim. La'ago b'tanurim shalanu and soimchin atzma la divrei mekilin v'toiv la'achmir. It's better to be machmir. Machmir tavalei bracha, right? It's toiv to be machmir. Mishmur says, why is it toiv to be machmir? Because many Rishonim don't hold to this Ran. It's a Ran, right? At the end of the simon, sorry, not even at the end. At the end of Siv Gimel, kfar nisbayer shenoyigin lahakel im nosna gabe karka. We're making like this Ran. Make like that. If you have this Ran, the whole simon's over. You might remember this Ran for the rest of your life. Because according to this Ran, as long as it was on the fire, give me an example of where it's not negay the Ran. My case of the thermos. That the hot water in the thermos, that's a good case, right? You have boiling, you pour it into a thermos so that you can have hot water on Shabbos, because let's say your thermos has problems with Shabbos or some other type of attitude problem or something. So now you have water in the thermos, and now you want to take that water on Shabbos and put it into the crock pot. Okay? You want to put it into the crock pot. So you say, oh, wait a minute. Is this Oidei Biyadai? It's not Oidei Biyadai, not holding it. Is it Daitei Lachzor? Maybe, because you planned on using it for the child, but it's Oidei Biyadai. So now I don't have the tziruf of the Ran, because now it wasn't on the fire as of when Shabbos came in, so I don't have the tziruf of the Ran. But Kemat, in every other case, you're always going to have the tziruf of the Ran. Now the Ran is not the most lechatchila thing, right? But it's Kein Hagim, and the Rama brings it, and he says that, I already explained that we're making like the Ran. No, as Rabbi say, whatever the shayla we're talking about, the countertop now, I just lost my cheshik to be machmer. I just lost my cheshik. Is a countertop, maybe a countertop is mitav safsel. And maybe Rav Moshe is right, even if it's not, that putting my hand on a pot is mutter gomer anyways, even on the karka. And not only that, according to the Ran, hakol mutter lach. Everything is mutter, even if once it was on the fire, as when Shabbos came in, hakol mutter lach. So therefore, I don't see a need to be machmer on the shayla. And therefore, you could take the challah pot, put it on the countertop, and hold it by the edge. You should hold it, but you should be but you should hold it because we're machmer. We try not to do like the Ran if we don't have to, right? But for sevayit, so you hold it on the side over there by the handle, etc. And that's what you could do this Friday night. Is that crystal clear? Before I go weiter, crystal clear. So that's number one. Now, before I continue, somebody asked me like this. He told me the shviger. Now I'm going to say something right now, which is this is maybe the biggest kula that you're going to hear in this room. It's maybe the biggest kula you're going to hear in this room, right? Maybe we should close the mechitza over here, right? The biggest kula you're going to hear. I'm not saying, but amol not a shviger. And sometimes with the shviger, you have to know what to do. He told me like this. He told me, what do I do? My shviger doesn't agree with your crackpot shtickle. What do you mean doesn't agree with the crackpot shtickle? The shviger And he says she doesn't put blechs inside her crock pot. Nobody's going near a crock pot. She's not putting tuna. She's not putting cans. She's not putting silver foil. She's not putting the silver foil balls. She's not doing anything, right? No. And I'm not either. No silver foil. I'm not putting anything dangerous in fire. You're not putting any silver foil near my crock pot and whatever. Okay, right? So I told him, so what's the problem? It's Michael Ben Drusai. Yeah, that's not the issue. He says, what about Chazara? What about Chazara? I said, well, Chazara. So just don't have cholent on Friday night. He says, I don't need to have cholent on Friday night. But the shvager, the 16-year-old shvager is going through difficult adolescent times. Yeah, that's what, listen, I only repeat what I'm asked, right? He's going through difficult adolescent times and whatever. He has cholent on Friday night, okay? And he's such a machmir that he takes it out. He doesn't even know why he's taking it out, I would tell him it's better just open it up and scoop out, right? No, he doesn't hold the Chazon Ish, He doesn't hold the Chazon Ish, right? It's not happening. It's not happening, okay? So he told me, Tachlis, he asked me this Shaila last Erev Shabbos. He asked me, Tachlis, he's been listening to the Shiur. He says to me, the Shvager, right, La Yehuda. Am I allowed to have the cholent on Shabbos day? And then he had the next Shaila. Do I have to tell my wife? What about the kid? All the Shailas that everybody knows. The Shvager, the kid, the wife. Good? So no, Tachlis. Baruch Hashem for the Shviger. How many shilas we wouldn't have otherwise, right? So is there any way that this guy can have the cholent? He said it's going to be a balagan. If he doesn't eat the cholent, they're going to be looking at what's going on. What's going on? Corona? What's going on? What's going on? Why aren't you eating the cholent? What's going on here? Hechsherim? What? It's kosher. But that's Ramallah. What's going on? What's going on? Right? What's going on? So is there any eitzah for this fellow? They're doing chazar. Rabbi said this is checkmate. They're doing chazara to an open fire. Shem Yerachem. What? Come again? The Ran? What? What other Ran? How does that help us? Chazara Shabbos. This is chazara on Shabbos. He's doing. Oh, I'm sorry. Chazara on Shabbos is forbidden. Chazara on Shabbos is forbidden. No, I'm sorry. I know it's forbidden. I mean, Chazara on Shabbos is also even b'di'evet. Excuse me. That's what I meant to say. Once it becomes mistamik v'yafaloi, the kid takes off the cholent at 11 o'clock at night, and then by the time it comes the morning, it gets more and more mistamik v'yafaloi. Chazara on Shabbos is usher even b'di'evet. So what's he going to do? When no one's looking, he's going to go and switch cholents with the neighbor every week. Where are you going? Nowhere. What's that in your hand? Nothing. What do you mean? Reminds me of the story of Rav Shach. Shach was once walking in these streets over here. Shach was once walking like this. You can see, You can see? Like this. Right? So a barrel and Reb David were walking down the street. They see there's Laser Shach, and he's walking like this in front of the house by Brisker Rav. He's walking like this, back and forth. So they said to him, Laser, what's that? He was sitting like this. He looked a little interesting, like this. So he said, he looked up. Avut avatiach. Where'd the watermelon go? So Ryan learning that I don't know if they got the watermelon, and then that's it. Right? Why did I tell you that story? Because there's the guy walking out of the house with the cholent. He's walking out of the house with the cholent. Where you going, Laser? Where you going? Nowhere. He comes back with a different cholent. So is there any eitzah? So is Rabbi Yisai? What about the Ran? Sammy, want to try the Ran over here? The Ran, this is the greatest savior in the world. Baruch Hashem. According to the Ran, we don't need the tnayim of Chazara, right? As long as it was on the fire as if when Shabbat came in, so we don't need the tnayim of Chazara, right? No, over here for sure. If we'd have the Ran and we're not Yiglako, we're not going to ask for the challenge, right? I got to ask for the challenge, right? So that's it, no? What? So comes again, Rabbi said, we're in big trouble over here. We don't have a Ran. The Mishnah Berurah, and Sivkat in Samech Gimel, right away, he warns us. He says, Pirush. This Ran that I just told you that you don't need the tnayim if the food was on the fire. Pirush. That's only the binan. That's only the tnayim of the mechsi type tnayim that we discussed, which is what oydoi biyadoi and daitoi la'achzir. That tnayim we don't need, and you can understand it's like a hemshech. As long as it was on the fire, we consider everything to be a hemshech. He says, but the tnai of grufa v'ketuma. What are you talking about? Gar v'katim lekule alma ba'inon, and he brings here taz. See, that's not for discussion. The Ran was never makel on the heter of grufa v'ketuma. Of course, you need to put it onto a covered blech, a covered fire. Without a covered fire, there's nothing to discuss. The only time the Ran was Mekel is the Ran is based on the Yerushalmi. And the Ran is talking about that there's a heter, that it all continues, a continuation. But Avada, you can't have an open flame. So Mishnah Berurah told us you can't use the Ran. So we're back to the Shvegar. And this Mishnah Berurah is not a Mishnah Berurah. This Mishnah Berurah is a Beis Yosef at the end of the Siman who says, Upashit. Right at the end of the Siman, the Beis Yosef says that he says Mefurish, and he says this is mamish pashit. In other words, don't even try to make a mistake and think we could use the Ran as a tziruf over here because there's no such Ran. The Ran was only Mekel that if something was put onto the karka and it was on from when fire came in, Shabbos came in, so then you could be Mekel. But to put it back to a covered fire, that's pashit. Beis Yosef, Taz, all the Paiskim, and the that's not going to help us over here. So he doesn't have a covered flame. What? So, we'll get to that in a moment. But that was the Lagabi Shiur. But sorry. Oh, I'm not sure. Maybe it sounds like the Kuli Alma. Sounds like the Kuli Alma. Kuli Alma is Rabbi say. So what do you do? Is there any eights over here? So there's a Birkei Yosef the Chidah, and he brings the Tashbeitz, and he says the Tashbeitz brings a Yesh Mekilin. I didn't see it inside. I saw the Birkei Yosef. He brings that the Tashbeitz brings a Yesh Mekilim on the Ran. You hearing this? A Yesh Mekilim on the Ran, even as long as it was on the fire, as if when Shabbos came in, even to put it back to an uncovered flame. It's okay. But Rabbi say, Yeda Tashbeitz, like Yesh Oimim in a Tashbeitz, you can hold up. It's not even a tziruf. It's a Yesh Oimim in a Tashbeitz that the Beis Yosef says is Pashit Nish, and the Mishnah Berurah says not like that and doesn't even get a mention, So, don't, Rabbi say, you can always find the Shita. You can always find the Shita. That's not enough to be Mekel. Either Shviga, okay, here. So, then you have to, that's not enough. But then there's an Aruch HaShulchan. Aruch HaShulchan is already, he's already, I'm not saying who's bigger than who, but Aruch HaShulchan is is in the realm of our gamut of the Paiskim over here. So, could you bring me, could somebody enlighten me? B'vakasha within Aruch HaShulchan? Aruch HaShulchan, we have it there? It's behind the Mechitza, that you're saying, probably, right? There's Aruch HaShulchan in Siman Reish and Gimel Sivkot in Yutas, and it's not just as an Aruch HaShulchan. There's an Aruch HaShulchan that says, if you don't find one, I'll say about. You don't find one? Well, you found it? No. It's in the middle of finding it. Okay. What? That's a Shulchan Aruch HaShulchan, the other way. Time. I'll say it about that. The Aruch HaShulchan basically, the Aruch HaShulchan says, Rabbi says, it's okay, Rabbi said. The Aruch HaShulchan basically says that it is mutter. You can be saimich on the Ran, not l'chatchila, but you can be saimich because you can never saimich on the Ran. He says the Ran was makel even when it was taka, not garif and katan, as long as it was on a fire as if when Shabbos came in, as long as it was on the fire as if when Shabbos came in, then you can return it even to an open flame. But that's not what excites me about the Aruch HaShulchan. What excites me about the Aruch HaShulchan, yeah, but you touched it. Oh, you touched it. Oh, now you touched it. You have cooties. Oh, yeah. Aruch HaShulchan, Siman, Reish Nun Gimel, Sivkatan, Yud Tes. He says, Kasav Rabbeinu Ramah b'Sif Beis v'Yeshoyim dekolsa einu aser rakesh shenatlu min akir mi b'Yom l'chzir chachashecha the Ran avalim lachul misham mutter v'kein nayhagin. You ready for this? La'akel v'tanur and shalanu that have a din of akira v'saimchan atzmam al divrei mekilim. It says v'Yeshoyim. Okay. Bir dvarav Yeshoyim kol din chazar arsachamim is only when you took it off from before Shabbos, but not on. I'll listen to the Aruch HaShulchan. Ve'al zeh Soimchim ha'oilam shenoitlin hakaderos mitanurin shalanu. They take off the pot. You listening, DJ? You hear what's going on over here? They take off the pot from our tanurim. You ready for this? The shenesukim be'etzim. They're fired up with coals. Ve'loi garevikatim. They're not garevikatim. V'noitlim ha'tafshel, and they take off a little challah to shvager. A little challah to disturb shvager is having some difficult times. Okay? He takes off a little challah and then he puts it back. And they put it back on Shabbos. Because this is a das yichidah. Right? He takes on pashit that the Ran was mekel, even the gabe what? So I don't know. Rabbi say, I'm not going to ask the child. I'm not going to ask the child, especially if he's crying and the shviger and the whole story and the baby and everything. I'm not going to ask the child. Don't do it. Because this is against the Mishabura, this is against the Taz, this is against the Beis Yosef, it's against all the Paiskim. But now you have an Aruch HaShulchan who's telling us that you can say on this Tash Beit. It's such an unbelievable Chiddush. So, but that wasn't so enough for me because I felt a little bit like, forget it. Let him get out of having the cholent. I don't know, let him eat instead. Tell him, I got filled up on those gefilte fish balls. I ate just like one or too many of them, a little bit too much borscht, Figure out a way. Is that enough? So then I decided that the marsham that I mentioned to you, it bothered me, this marsham. The marsham I mentioned to you is that the only time they made a Shema Yechata, is when you see in front of you the coals and you see you're losing over here, and it's going to give you a yetzer to stoke. So we said that covered flames are not going to be a problem. But that was the Gabe Shihia. And I mentioned that the Gabe Mechsi, I don't see why that should be a Manda Amar. The Gabe Mechsi here, this is where you cook, right? So if I take the pot and I put it onto an uncovered flame, this is where you cook. But then I saw in the Maram Shik, and I mentioned this once, but I hadn't seen it inside. The Maram Shik in the 117th Tshuva, the Maram Shik Takis says the same svara as the Marshag. Takis says the same svara as the Marshag, and that if it's a covered flame, then it's okay. Okay, and they weren't geyser, and he says even legabe chazara. Now, it doesn't explain why should that be. I mean, if you that, you don't need a blech in a crack pot. Don't be saimach on this, Rabbi Yisai. I told you, I'm going to give Kallus today that I'm not proud of. Okay, but so I was thinking, what's the pshat in this Maram Shik? He doesn't explain really. It could be like this. It could be he takes on pashit that the Indian of the blech by chazara is al Shem Yechata, like Rabbeinu Yankiv, like Rabbeinu Tam. Okay, how do I have a right to say there is such a sheet? You know that the Graz, the Balatanya, listen how he says over Hilchas Chazara. He says like this. He says, you should know you need a blech. And you should know when it comes to Chazara, you need a blech. And you should know you need a blech even more so than by Shehiyah. Because by Shia, there were Shitas of Michael Ben Drusai and all this, and none of that goes over here. And even if it's Mitzvamik Viralo, you need a blech. Because Shema Yechata. That's how he explains Chazar. Next line in the Graz, and you should know there's another Isser called Mechzik Mevashal. And what's that on? That Mechzik Mevashal makes it that you have to have Das, and you have to have Oida B'Yadai. He learns there were two separate takanas in Mechzik, in Chazar. It's two separate takanas. It's not like the Mishabur. But that's a respectable shita. So the Egli Tal is medayik this in the grass like that. Which means that if you make a cheshbon over here, the blech, if I could take care of my blech, that manashach over here maybe, number one, I have the Ran. That the Ran tells me there's no mechsi. That the Ran tells me there's no mechsi because it was on the fire as of when Shabbos came in. Okay, that's an unbelievable kula. The Paiskim don't say that in the Ran. Yeah, but maybe pshat in the requirement of blech is anyways not al mechsi. And if it's not al mechsi, so then I can start saying a lot of my old svaras that we said here. Svara of the Marshag. Now this is we're calling the Maram Shik. That a covered flame, I don't feel the yates are hard to stoke. We have the svara that, of the Miskaras HaShulchan, we have still that svara over there. And Akopanim, to aser the cholent, I'm not going to aser the cholent. And that means that you can have it if your shviger does it. So then you can have it. This is probably the biggest kula that was ever said in this room. And that you can do it, right? Even if someone just makes a mistake. What's the question? Is it only by a shviger that I'll be mekel, right? If this was in my own house, I don't know if I'd be mekel. I don't think I'd be mekel. If it's my own house, I'm saying, I'm in charge. I don't know if I'd be mekel. I don't know if I'd be mekel. What do you say? Someone asks me, I would him and ho and figure out the Orchaim's yard side. But I don't know. Later, I'm saying, I don't know. What? If they didn't have das, but it doesn't matter because we still have the rod. That's not the pshat the rod, though. That's not the pshat the mishpur. Sorry. If somebody did it to my house, I'm saying in my own house, I don't know if I. Yes, there's no question that by makom shviger you can be mekel. Makom shviger you can be mekel. Right? Even makom shvager was a little bit adolescent and disturbed. Right? That's what can I do? What can I do? I don't know. I don't know. That I don't know. Should I tell you another shviger shaila? Should I tell you one last shviger shaila? He has another thing his shviger does. This guy's a parsha. You ready for this? What? Even in my own house, I don't know if I'd be make all these coolers. These are very big coolers. They're very big coolers. It's not the pashas. Let's put it like this. Everybody said, if you go to a Rav and you knock on the door of the Rav and you ask the Rav, no, this is what happened. I took the challenge and I put it back on Friday night and whatever, right? So, and the Rav says, yeah, no, it's Beseder, it's no problem, right? So either the Rav's mamash going, no, on the spot to say it's no problem like that, mamash. Either the Rav's going, or the Rav's mamash, shouldn't ask him other questions. Right, I'm saying this is not the normal kula. It's not the normal kula. Most Rabbanim are not going to be make on this. Most Rabbanim aren't going to be make on this. And but again, the makom shviger. It's interesting. I when I was talking to him, I said to him, he was telling me about how the challenge was. So he told me something interesting. He told me that the challenge, the challenge is Zichar Michael Ben Drusai by the time Shabbos comes. That's what he told me. Those are the words he told me. I told him, Stamazai, if it's Michael Ben Drusai by the time, remember when we were speaking, I was trying to figure out, do you have a problem with Shia? So he said to me, I said to him, if your child is Michael Ben Drusai by the time Shabbos comes in the summer months, right? So when, little adolescent Yankee at 11 o'clock at night comes to scoop out a little cholent to add to his pimple collection, 11 o'clock at night. 11 o'clock at night from 8 o'clock, from 7 o'clock at night. Is it so pashut it's going to get from Michael Ben Drusai to Mevushal Kol Tzorchai, all the little bean lach and all the little kartoffel lach, ered apple lach, right? The fleishik lach, right? Is that so pashut? I'm just looking at the Metzias, right? So he said to me, I don't know. I told him, by the way, if not, it might be better. I'm not saying, for the adolescent fellow, it might be worse. But, because you hear what's going on here? Because what's happening, when little Yankee takes off the cholent, right? A little adolescent Yankee takes off the cholent. So what happens now? So now he's going to put back the cholent. So what's he being over on when he puts back the cholent? Chazara? Bishul. According to many shittas, what's he over on? He's over on Bishul. He's making it go from 80% cooked to 100% cooked. According to many shittas, that's an Issa Deraisa. It's already no longer just a Chazara, which is an Issa Derabbanan, it's Issa Deraisa. Ironically, all of our chumras that Aser at Shalint b'di Eved were by the Bishul Derabbanan, by the Chazara Derabbanan Takanas. Because by Chazara Takana Derabbanans, the Shulchan Aruch, the Gemara basically says in Shabbos, Lameches, whatever it is, that people were mizalzel, and therefore they made takanas, special takanas, which broke the regular rules of Ma'aseh Shabbos, and we made knasses that usually we did not make. Okay, but Masha'en came when it comes to the Bishul Deraisa, so they didn't make special takanas because people aren't mizalzel, so they never made knasses on Deraisa. If you're on Deraisa, it has the regular rules of Ma'aseh Shabbos. No, what's the regular rules of Ma'aseh Shabbos? So if you do an Isser Deraisa b'shoigig, so then the Goyin is makel b'di'avid, and the Mishnah Berurah is makel on that. So ironically, if this cholent isn't fully cooked, we might be better off. What? We might be better off, no? Sorry? Oh, also over here, right? Very good. Also over here, it could be there's no knas anyways, right? Very good, thank you. Because since our sheet is that old, it's not called, it's not an Isser Deraisa of cooking. But that's a little bit not fair, right? Yeah, because Mamanashach, it's a little bit evil to use both, right? Because Monashach, according to those shittas, there is an issur of what? Well, I say not mezalzel because of those shittas. Yeah, Akabanim, there would be a makom to be. It would be much easier for me to be. Then I would be meko, and I wouldn't consider this rav to be a goyin or a garnished. That's a normal thing to be meko based on that. Right? That's a normal thing. You like the cheshbon? It's a nice cheshbon. No? I think I get the Nobel Peace Prize for that. We have to apply. No, that's right. You have to apply. No, you have to apply. Simply, could you maybe fill an application for us? Isn't the going only make a okay? But I'm saying makom trigger and whatever. I'm saying that's a much bigger. Also, if it's a das yachid remekel, that there's no knas. I'm saying if there are shittas, right? Yeah, okay, but that's his matzav. That's in his situation. That's the situation he's in. He's saying this fellow does it every week. I hear. We have a matzav over here. Like he's also popping his pimples over the jaw. In the way he was describing to me the situation over here. So that's the matzav. Some of us remember our youth. Us. It can't be that there'll be a knas on something. The whole lumdus doesn't apply. Rabbi Rashbash is asking, whoa, he's also being over on Chazar. He's also being over on Bishul. 500 you burn, 600 you broil. In Gehenna, there's enough room for everyone. And if not, they'll build a third floor for you. That's what he's asking, right? He's not just over on Bishul. He's over also on Chazara. But it's not true because here the lumdus of the knas was that this Jew is doing a deraisa. Deraisas don't need chizik. So there's a gewaldige lumdus to say. What? Yeah. I don't know. You want to say that? Right? Yeah. You have a raya? Where are you reading, son? Yeah. Samach Beis? By Shartzian? אפילו מבלב מרובה משנה מקום הכל להביא רק בכלל חזר אבל אם היה בתחילה what? Am I reading the wrong one? Reish Nun Gimel Samach Beis? אפילו מבלב מרובה זה פעולה ואין טייב למשך השייכה just the first time אפילו מבלב מרובה משנה? אפילו לקיר החרס? Right. Let me look at it after. Let me see it after. It's Rabbi say. Let me tell you one last thing. Sorry, we have to. It's got late today. What happened? We didn't learn anything today. Let me tell you one last shviger with this character. Listen what a shviger does. Listen what a shviger does. Okay, this is, he was asking me just like, what I think about this. She has a cholent pot and whatever, let's say, well, not cholent pot. She has like a chicken soup pot and she has a meat pot. And he's not going to, you can't tell her anything, Rabbi Isai. She's the shviger. Can't tell her anything, okay? You have a chicken soup and let's say a meat pot or whatever, right? And then on top of it, you have like potato cooked. There's not enough room on the hot plate. There's not enough room on the... So she has on top of it on Friday afternoon, she's got a cholent pot, not a cholent pot, cholent with the crock pot. She has a chicken soup pot and a meat pot, and then she has a few things on top, like the potato cockles on top. He says, what does she do? Every Friday night, she takes off the chicken soup, she takes off the pot of the chicken soup, okay? And then where's the potato cockle going to go? Where's the potato cockle going to go? He's going to fall and die, right? You can't just, so she takes him nicely and places him onto the hot plate. So he was on top of the chicken soup pot. Now she takes him off and she places him onto the hot plate, right? Or blech, or whatever it is. Now, boys, before we continue, let's think about this. Is this allowed or not allowed? Let's think. Can I take a potato kugel out of the fridge and put her onto a chicken soup pot on Shabbos? The answer is yes. Yes. Why? Because that's not Mexican Mavashal and whatever. But that, that's my first and Shulchan Aruch, Gimel Sif Hey, right? That is permitted. Okay? So let's try and figure this out here. Where was the potato kugel as when Shabbos came in? Where was she? She was on top of on the chicken soup pot. Can I take her straight out of the fridge and put it there? Yes. So then I have a great idea. I'll take on Shabbos a potato kugel from the fridge. I'll put it onto the chicken soup pot. And then I'll wait. I'll say Kapitel Tilim. Okay? And then I'll put it onto the hot plate. What's the difference between what the shviger just did and what I just said? It's the same thing, right? But it's a shviger. It's a shviger. Is there any hate? It's a shviger. So I'm going to tell you shtickle hates over here. It's a shtickle hates. But it's a shviger. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe even there's one aspect that it might be even lechatchila. We'll see, right? There's a tshuva from Rabbeinu Hagadol, the Igris Moshe. Now there are two tshuvas. There's a tshuva in Dalit Samach Aleph. This tshuva was written in 1969. And then there's a tshuva in these short tshuvas here of Rav Eider. And this one was written in 1975. And this is an Ayin Dalid Yud Beis. If you read Ayin Dalid Yud Beis and you do not read the tshuva in Dalit Samach Aleph, you're probably committing an offense. A federal offense, I'm not sure, but you're certainly committing a crime because in Ayin Dalid, this exact shaila that Rabbi Eider asked him, he has an entire long tshuva where he explains his shita. And if you would read only the one in Ayin Dalid over there, you'll come to make false conclusions. And when you put this one together with the other one, you realize what he's trying to say. And that answers up the stira that I saw some ask. But let's go first to what's the right thing. The tshuva that was written in Barichas in 1969 about the shaila. Okay? Rav Moshe in that tshuva says a tremendous yisod. He says on a blech, there's three parts. He says there's the part which is mamish under the fire, or over the fire. There's the part which it's still boiling hot yad saledis by. but it's not on the fire. And then there's the part where it's not even Yad Saledis by, or so Shiloh maybe can't make the food get Yad Saledis by, but it's hot or whatever, it's warm, but it's not the fire. So Ramosha describes these three places on the blach. And Ramosha says a tremendous insight. Ramosha says, if you take the cholent and you put her to the part, let's say, which is not Yad Saledis by, let's say, okay? You put her to the part which is not Yad Saledis by. So Ramosha over there says, in that tshuva, he says in that place where it's not Yad Saledis by, he says, that's Hesech Hadas, and that's like Karka. That's like Karka. Remember before I told you, Rabbi Isai, that I had a diak that Ramosha learns a countertop is going to be Karka? I think this is a Kallus, right? If a part of the blech is called Karka and called Hesech Hadas, so then certainly the countertop is called a Karka. That's why before I told you that it's Kedai always to just put your hand there or whatever. That's it. Come again? Come again? It's a kasha. I'm saying I don't know the answer to the kasha. I'm just saying, but that's what it says in Ramosha. So Ramosha tells us like this. He says, if you have a chicken soup and you take that chicken soup and you push her onto the part of the blech which is not Yad Saledis by, Ramosha says that is karka. That's what Ramosha says over there. So that thing is called karka, and he says, and therefore even daitel achzer doesn't work. At least lechatchila, even daitel achzer doesn't work in such a case. He says daitel achzer doesn't work in such a case because you can't do daitel achzer when you put something onto the karka. You're supposed to have daitel achzer. You're supposed to have oidev yadai. So here it says, Ramosha, when I take the chicken soup and I put her over there, let's say you're being masad of the blech or whatever, and you take the chicken soup and you put her over there to the end of the blech, the Ramosha says you just put the chicken soup on the karka. I'm not saying if everyone agrees with this, but that's what Ramosha says. Okay? And now, it's not enough daitel achzer, certainly not l'chatchila. So l'chayra, listen to what Moshe goes on to say. He says, but don't forget the Ran. Listen to what he says, a davar nifla. This Moshe is a davar nifla. Says Moshe, but don't forget the Ran. He says, if on Shabbos, listen to this, okay? If on Shabbos I have, let's say, I have my cholent too close to the fire. Let's say like that, okay? I have the cholent that's too close to the fire. And then on Shabbos, I move her over because I don't want it to burn, I move her over to a part of the blech which is not so boiling and whatever. Okay, it says Ramosha, and then kum shpeiter, I say, you know what? Now it's getting closer to the suda. I got to put it, closer back to the fire. So it says Ramosha, according to me, that should be a problem, right? Because I took her, I put her on the karka, and daitel achzer doesn't work. Okay, it says Ramosha, no, but don't forget the Ran. Don't forget the Ran. It says if she was on the fire as it when Shabbos came in, and now you push her over to the place which is, not called Yad Saledis by. He says, even if the Ran, we don't do maybe lechatchila and whatever, no, this vite, we could do it. That's very much was mitzaref the Ran that like a holding market. It's like karka, but it's a bit better than karka. It's like a mamish, like Ramesh is holding it on the karka. I figured out a way. What's the whole lumdis or ba'isai to be yadai and daitel achzer and all these things? It's like a holding spot to show I'm on my way back. Says Ramesha, if you took the cholent and you pushed her away from the fire and you put her into a place where she's takahat, and then you're going to plan on putting her back. You plan on putting her back, let's say, okay? So then Mamela says, Ramesha, does it nishkeferlich? But says Ramesha, but if this was all before Shabbos, isn't Ramesha? But if this was all before Shabbos, what do I mean that this is before Shabbos? I mean that Erev Shabbos, you don't have enough room on your blech. And you have the cholent on the part of the blech, which is not Yad Saledis by. So as of when Shabbos came in, where was that cholent? On the karka, right? So now do I have the Ran? Can I go and put her back to the fire? If not, everyone has me? Everybody with me? Again, if I have the cholent on the fire or whatever, and then I move her over, and then I plan on putting her back. No, that's like a holding ground. That's like a holding ground, right? But if on Erev Shabbos I have my cholent, and it was on the part of the blech, which is not the part of the fire. It's such an important tshuva, Rabbi said. And it's not on the part which is the fire. And then on Shabbos, I plan when I take off the chicken soup, but pushing the cholent back to the fire, says Rabbi Moshe, that is illegal. That's a crime. That's a felony. That's illegal because it was on the karka and you don't have the Ran. Okay? Is that crystal clear? That's very important. Now, Agav, when you put this together with the tshuva and Ayin Daled Yud Beis, there they asked Rabbi Moshe, can I take my cholent, move it to the part off the blech, and then put it back? And Moshe says yes. you read the Jew, like what happened over here? So now I'm explaining to you. He was talking about mamish only in the case of where it was on the fire of when Shabbos came in. Okay? So beside, now let's see if we can help the shviger. Okay? So there's two cases. If the shviger is taking the potato kugel straight from the oven, listen closely, my friends and family. If she's taking the potato kugel straight from the oven, and I told him snoop around and find out, and he never got back to me, so we don't know. But if she's taking the potato kugel straight from the oven on Friday afternoon, it was on the fire and whatever, and she takes it hot out of the oven, and then she doesn't want it to be in the oven, she takes it and puts it onto the chicken soup pot. And then afterwards, she takes the chicken soup pot away and then puts him down to the first floor, the potato kugel, and puts him onto the first floor. So then we could maybe be makel. Because watch. I'm not saying that this is Reb Moshe, right? Because l'chayr we don't have the Ran. This is not Reb Moshe, but I'm stealing at least a something from Reb Moshe. I'm stealing an idea from Reb Moshe. If I take the potato kugel from the fire, and now it's kivyachol oida biyadai. In which way is it oida biyadai? I'm holding it. I'm with my das. She knows she's going to go from the oven to the floor of the hot plate. It's going to take her time to get there. She's going to wait until the chicken soup gets removed. How's it oida biyadai? She's putting it in a holding zone on top of the chicken soup. She's putting it there so that Bez Hashem, Bez Hashem, so come the zeit, she'll be able to take it and to put it down. So it's kivyochel like ke'ein the svara of Rav Moshe, at least the oida biyada. Just Rav Moshe told us we were able to be makel because we had the Ram. Here we don't have the Ram because here it's not on the fire as of when Shabbos came in. V'haraya, that's a place I could put it to straight from the fridge. But in essence, it's like taking from a fire, putting it into an oida biyada and a daita lahachzir. It's also right, and that's like a ke'ein and oida biyada. And then she puts it onto the hot plate. So therefore, it's nicht der Welt. It's nicht gefährlich. It's lo nora. Okay, lo nora. However, I don't think she's doing that. That's not usually what people are doing. What usually she's probably doing is she's probably taking a potato kugel that was previously cooked, right? She probably was in the fridge or on the countertop or whatever. She takes that potato kugel, which is cold now. And now she takes it, and where does it start out on Shabbos? Where does it start out? It starts out on top of a cholent pot. So basically, what she did was, she basically just took something out of a fridge, put it onto a chicken soup pot, and then put it onto the hot plate, right? So then that's checkmate. And then you have to beat her up. Right? But you can't beat up the shviger. So what do you got to do? You got to, what? For this? I mean, it's probably other things. Buzz? Come again? Oh. So I told them, you got to snoop around. I told them, like Rabbi Platzker was saying, a lot of times, right before Shabbos, they'll throw it into the oven. So they want to get it hot. And then it'll be hot, and then they'll put her onto the chicken soup. Now again, this is not Rav Moshe. It's not Rav Moshe. But it's like a main dogma of Rav Moshe. It's Kain Rav Moshe. What? Come again? Even if it's very hot, but it's still mechsi, it's still something, that wouldn't be called Aish. If that would be called Aish, I would be able on Shabbos to do it. Oh, I wanted to say something about Shabbos. Danny, do I have a minute? I have 6 minutes, Danny? Where's Danny? Okay. Oh, okay. So is that why it says crystal clear or no? Crystal clear? Okay. I'll chazer it on Sunday. As you know, tomorrow there's no koil. What? It's a chazar day. It's a chazar of chazar, right? Shiur chazar to chazer, right? It's a chazar. And what should I do? Should I say maybe also tomorrow from the Zoom for the show? Not on Bishop, but like a short chizuk or something? No, because it's like 4:45 in the afternoon. That's when you have a headache. Okay, so fine. So 4:45 in the afternoon tomorrow, there'll be a short shiur, as Hashem, not on Bishul and Shiur and Chazara. But let me just say one word of chizuk now, just because just because we're here, So Danny, make it into a separate shiur. I'll make one word of chizuk. Right. So I had a little aura. Is what is Shiva Ser B'Tammuz? What's Shiva Ser B'Tammuz? Tomorrow I'll talk about the parsha. Maybe also Shiva Ser B'Tammuz. We'll see. But I added a little aura over here. What is Taka Shiva Ser B'Tammuz? So Shiva Ser B'Tammuz is the day that it was bottled the korban, the korban tamid. The Gemara Baba Kama and Daf Pei Beis brings down what the story was. The Gemara Baba Kama and Daf Pei Beis brings that they used to every day when they were having the fights, into tribal strife. So they used to send up a korban every day. They would send up the korban through the chayma because they were fighting from inside the wall to outside the wall. So they would send up the korban, shnei kvasim, and then they would send down the money for the korban. So there was an old man there who knew chachma yavanis, and he says to them, "What are you doing? Don't you realize, Kolzman, that the korban is going and it's not batal the tamid? So then you won't be able to break through the siege. So then why are you sending them up the korban?" So what did they do? They went and they sent up the next day a chazir. And the chazir, when he got to halfway up the wall, instead of sending a keves, instead of sending a entire animal, it got halfway up the wall. It like put its nails into the wall, and the whole Eretz Yisrael shook by 400 parsayos and 400 parsayos. And that was the beginning of the end. So therefore, what happened in Shivas Arba Tamid? Batal Tamid. The Tamid was canceled. The Tamid was canceled. And what was the Tamid when Klal Yisrael had the Tamid? When we had the Korban Tamid, it says in the Gemara, it says in Yerushalayim, nobody ever went to sleep. He always was rain. He always had kaparas avinus. How did he always have kaparas avinus? He went to sleep at night. There was he went in the afternoon. He got the kapara from the korban and the ben Rabbi. By the time he woke up in the morning, there's already a korban tamid that was first thing in the morning. Even if he had any hearer in the middle of the night, it doesn't matter. He became totally clean because every time there was a korban tamid. Nobody ever. And understand what's a korban tamid. When things are done with continuity. When something is done with continuity, it has a tremendous, tremendous effect. The bittul of Shivas Arba Tamid of Shivas Arba Tamid is the bittul of the continuity. Is the continuity. The tremendous aveilus of Shivas Arba Tamid is there's a loss of the continuity of the avodah. When the avodah is continuous, morning and night, nonstop. So that itself is a tremendous, tremendous tool in avodas Hashem. When it's constant, when the avodah, when the davening is constant, and the learning is constant, and the chesed is constant, and the overall ganze mensch of a yid is constant, that's a soldier. That's a soldier. When the person's a soldier, that's a yid. A yid is a soldier, constant. These days have been very difficult. No, since if I say, remember the last time we were together was talking about these things was Tainus Esther gewesen, right? From this tightness to that tightness was enveloped a total lack of continuity. From the last tightness, that's when it all started, Tainus Esther. From Tainus Esther to Shivas Arba Tamid has been just a total lack of just avodah being constant. We come today, we don't even know if we're going to have koil today. Not that we're having koil. I give up. It's the only thing that's going to save Klal Yisrael's koil. So that's it. So we're having koil. And but you just don't know. Are they going to close this? Are they going to close that? Are they going to close the shuls again? Are they going to close the shuls again? Are they going to close the Bati Midrashim again? It's mamish, and the shuls and the minyanim and the learning and everything. Are they going to close the yeshivas? Are they going to close the right? It's such a lack of continuity. The person doesn't know where he's going or coming. That's batal tamid. That's batal tamid. It's a murdika shverkeit in avodas Hashem when the avodas Hashem is not constant. But you have to know something. Rabbi says the Gemara Menachos and Daf Kuf Yud. The Gemara Menachos Daf Kuf Yud says like this. The Gemara says that there is still a korban tamid that's mukrav, that's sacrificed twice a day. You know that? There's a korban tamid. A lot of weird people sometimes try to go up to Rabbi. I'm not talking about those type of people. I'm talking about there's a korban tamid which is mukrav twice a day. Twice a day. It's a Gemara Menachos Daf Kuf Yud every day, morning and in the night. There is a korban tamid. You know who's makriv? Sar Michael the Malach Hashem. He's makriv every single day. And Taisus in Menachos says such a beautiful thought. In Menachos over there in Daf Kuf Yud, Taisus says, that korban, that's what we say in Shemona Esrei when we say Ve'isha Yisrael usfilosam be'ahava tekabel beratzon. Where are the Isha Yisrael? Where are these Isha Yisrael? Most of us probably think it means a davening. Maybe there is a pshat like that, I'm sure. Taisus says, no, it means the korbanis that Sar Michael is makriv every single day. I must tell you, I don't know what Adasayf Chazal mean in this matter. Obviously, it's some type of ruchniistic korbanos that are taking place in Shemayim. And Ad Kedei Kach, I daven in my Shemona Esrei that the Rebbeinu Shalom should listen to the tefillas, to the korbanos, b'schus those korbanos that the Mechayil does for us. He's the Sar of Klal Yisrael, and b'schus those korbanos that he does for us. So then we should have a kapara b'av, to kabel b'rotz in our tefillas and everything, and it should be right. But it's a murder because I don't know what the oimik of the kavan of Chazal is like. The korban was nisbatel. We don't have a korban tamid. We don't have this constant in the avodah, but there is still something going on. Like as if to say that, if on a deeper level, even when you're in a matziv of non-continuity, when the avodah is not constant, and you're in this matziv of where it doesn't, but if you look on a deeper level and you can connect yourself to a place where the avodah is constant, you can connect yourself. It's not easy, obviously, but Yad Kidei Kach, you daven every day. V'Isha Yisrael U'Sfilas B'Hav as a kabbalah. Isha Yisrael. What are the Isha Yisrael? And those karbanis tamid that are mukrav in Shemayim every single day, and you can connect yourself to that. Ad Kidei Kach we daven. We can connect to constant. So even though the Seder is a little bit shorter, and even though the whole Seder is happening, not happening, and this and that and whatever, am I going to have a chavrusa tomorrow? Am I going to be in quarantine tomorrow? Is it going to be a davening tomorrow? Is it going to be a minyan tomorrow? Everything. Right? So that this is one place where it's very difficult. I imagine that where's the makim where you're connected? The makim where connected is when you have the rotzen to be connected to that. When the person longs to, and he does whatever he can in this matziv to make his own continuity, to have his own korban tamid. So then that's how he connects himself to the overall metzias of an Avodat Hashem, which is constant and with that level of continuity. But you just have to look on a deeper level. Just I had an interesting story. I live across the street. There's a house across the street from me of all these special children, and some of them are yuchadik special, but like they're mamish. And so today I was driving to the first Seder Kallus. I was going to say the story over there, but I was driving to the first Seder Kallus, and there's a street by Ramat Shlomo, Rehov Druk. That's like the big street. I mean, it's got like 2 lanes, right? But it's like a big street. And there was one of these children who was he's nebuch. He's lost lack of oxygen at birth, and he's nebuch. And he was at the corner, and he was just screaming. And the madrich means the person that what? The counselor. What do you call it? Shadow. Yeah, like that. Okay. So this shadow, like a shadow. Yeah. So the shadow was there, and you could see he was frantic and he didn't know what to do. And you saw this person on the other side of the street, and he was screaming, right? And the way he looked to me was like he kept showing like he's about to run into the street. He kept showing he's about to run into the street. He was trying to scare the madrich that he's about to run into the street, right? He was about to, and the madrich kept saying like this, and don't do it. And there was cars coming and buses coming and everything and this and that. And this is going on. You see, it was going on. It must have been going on. I was driving up, and you see, it must have been going on for a few minutes, and the car's like stopped because, and he was showing he's going to go, right? Right, and so on the one hand, the madrich needs him to get to the other side of the road, right? But on the other hand, he doesn't want him going himself because he shouldn't be crossing the street himself. That's what it looked like, right? So I tell you what I did. I got out of the car. These guys are all my friends. Nobody else likes me, right? But so I got out of the car and I went over to him. And they get very angry and very enraged and whatever. And I said to him, could you do me a favor? So he said, he looked at me, like he was getting angry. I said, Ishti lo masheli. My wife doesn't let me cross the street myself. Right? You can cross me the street? Okay. And we crossed the street together. We crossed the street together. Right? Everybody there is trying to figure out what to do with this guy. He's yelling, he's screaming, they're saying, don't cross by yourself, right? But if you come near him, he's just going to jot out. That's what was going on. He was about to jot out into the street by himself. So they have to figure out how to get him there without him. So what's the answer? He just said, could you please help me? Right? Just help me, So sometimes you have to look at things, but it's like all the, here now we're looking at this person. We think he's about to, all you have to do is just look with a deeper look. He just wants to help somebody. That's it. All he wants to do. With this mashal, there's a lot you could do. The truth is, a lot of times we fight with the Rabbi Shalom, and we don't want to do this mitzvah and that avodah and that and this and that. And the Rabbi Shalom, he just says, what are you fighting with me? I just want to help you. Right? I just want to help you cross the street. Right? But here you have to look with a deeper look. Look with a deeper look. Here it looks to us like we're in this matziv of non-continuity and this and that, and the matziv looks so bleak and so schwer. And how are we going to handle this? And how are we going to continue? And how are we going to have? But you know what the answer is? The answer is that in Shemayim, they're being makriv every single day at Korban Tamid. And when we connect ourselves to that, so then it flows. It flows. I just want one more thought. I want to just tell you one more thought. Because there's a lot of us that, it says in the Mishnah Berurah, you have to cry every day for half an hour. In years past, Most people didn't know how they're going to cry every day for half an hour. I don't think it's so schwer today. I don't think so many people have so much problems and so much sorrows. If you sit down and try to think, you'd be able to cry for half an hour. It's not so hard. Like that's what it says in the Shiur, and it's not so schwer. Moshe said it's a kula. It means don't cry more than half an hour. You got to be normal. You got to go on. But I don't think it's so schwer. I think in the years past, we didn't know how we we're going to cry. This year, I think a lot of us, if we would think, we could be able to cry. I don't know, for half an hour or whatever, but every day you think a little bit, you'll be able to cry. You'll be able to cry. But the Maisa, you have to direct those tears. You have to direct your irrigation. Sometimes we'll cry and we're just trying to unleash, which is probably healthy. So maybe that's good for the first day. There's a lot going on in here since Tainas Esther, But so it's true. You do have to a little bit, but you have to direct the tears because tears that are shed for somebody else and for Klal Yisrael and for a matziv have a tremendous tayelis. Someone just told me a story. Mamash Hafladik a story. He told me that there was a couple of Bali Tshuva she grew up the way she grew up, he grew up the way he grew up, right? Fry. And then they came to that car in Chayna, that the Rebbeinu Shalom is the only mahalach of life, and they became from. And they met in Yerushalayim, Mir Kodesh, the Hainu like a shidduch, and they got engaged. And they had a very open relationship. This is how the person told me the story. They got a very open relationship. He wanted her to know everything about him, and she wanted everything to know about her, whatever. So, fine. But it came 2 weeks before the chasana, and she realized because of that was the tzura, she hadn't told him one piece of information. What was the one piece of information that she didn't tell him? She didn't mention that she was married. That she was not married now, but that she was previously married. She was married to somebody from Argentina. The person told me the whole mice. He was married to a guy from Argentina. She married to a guy from Argentina. But then it was like a little short term, and it was whatever, and there's no remnant of him and the marriage and anything like this. And when he heard this, he became white. He became mamish white. She said, "What? If that's a reason not to marry me, Bal Tshuva. What do you want? That's a reason not to marry." He said, "I'm a kohen. I'm a kohen. I'm a kohen. I'm a kohen. I'm a kohen. You're married to a guy. If you're nivel to a guy, so then I'm a kohen. I can't marry you." Right? So they didn't know what to do. So I think the head of Eshet Torah, Weinberg, you can do this. So they say, go to Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah, Chakima de Yehudoi, right? Smartest man of the Jews. So they went to Rosh Hashanah. What's Rosh Hashanah going to do, right? What can Rosh Hashanah do? Rosh Hashanah could make it that a guy, that a nivel to a guy that is Zaina can marry a Kayan. Rosh Hashanah can't do that. So what did Rosh Hashanah do? So they came in, they told Rosh Hashanah, and Rosh Hashanah, when he heard the story, he just started to cry. He started to cry so badly that they had to leave. They couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle it. He was like an old man. He was crying, and he put his head down like this. The person told me the whole story. He put his head down like this and like that, and he was mamish crying. It was so bad. They knew the answer. Right? That's it. If Rosh Hashanah is crying like that, the answer is no more marriage. That's it. What could you do, right? So the person told me a story like this. He said that the story in Eshet Torah, or wherever, maybe, or I don't know, one of these places, was like a very known story. This guy 2 weeks before his marriage had to call off the engagement because of this mice, and everyone was talking about it. And what happened? There was somebody that came from Argentina. I think it was like somebody who was in Kiev or something, or Argentina, whatever. And he took the story, and he was so nisragish from the story, right, that he decided to look into it. And he looked into the story, and he found out that guy that she was married to, he wasn't the guy. He wasn't a guy. What was he? He was a Jew. He was a Jew. He did enough work in the lineage, and he went to the mother all the way back, to lighting the candles, the face in the Maranos in Spain somewhere. Right? And he found out that this guy was a Jew. No, so does that help us? Does it help us? So he said, well, what does it help us? We found out he's a Jew, right? So they went, they told Rosh Hashanah. He says, Rosh Hashanah, what? She got married to a guy? He says, no Adim, no anything, and he's a Jew? So then there's no Kiddushin. So there was no Kiddushin, so she was never married. So if she was never married, so she can get married. She can get married. And he said, Rosh Hashanah was Masada Kiddushin. So now you wonder, is there any tayelis and tears? So in this tayelis, when Rosh Hashanah, I don't know, did it work with my Freya? I don't know. Maybe it worked at some Zach that Rosh Hashanah made it that, somebody would look into the story. I don't know. But I tell you, it's mamish. you see from here, you have to direct your tears. So for sometime in the first few days when you're going to cry, in the next few days, in 3 weeks, you're going to cry. So some of it is to get it off of what's going on in here, right? But also sometimes you have to, if you direct your tears for the people in Kallus, you see what it can do. It's unbelievable. 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 Why? Because he cried so much. So what's the answer? The answer is when you cry for somebody else, it works. If you cry for yourself, I hope it also works. But if you cry for somebody else, it works. So many people have suffering. So that's what you have to do in these 3 weeks. You have to cry for other people. Right? A little bit for yourself, obviously, right? But you have to cry for other people too. Okay, so tomorrow we'll meet here at, not here. We'll meet on the TV at 4:45. 4:45. We'll talk short, during the headache. Little Rachel's girl, hi.